The 2026 Volvo EX30 Cross Country marks my first all-electric driving experience. I spent a week with Volvo's smallest SUV, driving it through the city, on the highway, and over British Columbia's mountain passes. That week taught me something important. Owning an electric vehicle isn't just about choosing the right car, it's also about understanding the charging network that supports it, planning your routes, and knowing what to expect before you set off on a longer journey. I'll share exactly what I learned later in this review, but first, let's meet the vehicle that made me want to keep driving. This is the 2026 Volvo EX30 Cross Country. At first glance, the Volvo EX30 Cross Country doesn't look like your typical compact electric SUV. It has a rugged personality that's designed to appeal to drivers who enjoy getting away from the city as much as navigating it. Up front, Volvo's signature Thor's Hammer LED headlights give the EX30 an unmistakable identity, while the closed front fascia improves aerodynamics without sacrificing style. Around the sides, black wheel arch cladding, skid plate accents, and the contrasting black all-glass roof add to its adventurous appearance. The Cross Country also sits on 19-inch alloy wheels, giving it a confident stance without making it feel oversized. This particular vehicle is equipped with several factory accessories that really complete the look. The load carrier up top with the roof basket transforms the EX30 into a practical companion for camping gear, photography equipment, or other weekend adventures. I think these accessories really suit the character of the Cross Country. They don't just change the appearance, they reinforce what the vehicle's designed to be, a compact electric SUV built for active lifestyles. The only downside is that the added roof basket creates additional wind resistance, which can have an impact on overall efficiency and reduce driving range. Moving from the exterior details to how you actually access the vehicle, Volvo has taken a very minimalist approach with the key. The key fob itself has no physical buttons, and in many cases, you won't need it at all. The EX30 offers a digital key that can be added to your smartphone wallet, giving you full access to the vehicle. Simply hold your phone or the fob near the B pillar, and the vehicle will unlock. With the Digital Key Plus, the EX30 can recognize your devices as soon as you approach or walk away, automatically locking or unlocking the vehicle without any additional interaction. The Volvo Cars app further enhances the experience with remote access, climate functions, and more. Now let's step inside and see if the interior is just as thoughtfully designed. The cabin is clean, uncluttered, and surprisingly spacious for a vehicle this size. One of the biggest contributors to that feeling is the expansive panoramic glass roof, which fills the interior with natural light and creates an open, airy atmosphere for both front and rear passengers. Now, today is a windy day, but when you get up to highway speeds, with the glass roof, the inside of the cabin becomes quite noisy. If you live somewhere in the Okanagan where summer temperatures can climb well into the 30s and beyond, I strongly recommend adding Volvo's optional panoramic roof sunshade. While the tinted glass does a good job of reducing the heat, having the ability to block direct sunlight makes the cabin noticeably more comfortable on those hot summer days. The added sunshade not only helps reduce heat, but also minimizes the wind noise while driving, which, especially with the roof basket installed, can otherwise overwhelm conversation. Volvo has also embraced minimalism throughout the interior. The traditional instrument cluster behind the steering wheel has been replaced by a centrally mounted touchscreen that displays everything from vehicle information to navigation and climate controls. While the layout is clean and modern, I found it challenging to use while driving. I often had to take my eyes off the road to navigate the menu, and over bumps it was easy to miss select options. The minimalist approach looks great, but in practice, it's not always ideal for everyday driving. And when dusk sets in, the screen changes to black for much clearer visibility. Despite its compact footprint, the EX30 makes excellent use of every available centimeter. Volvo has rethought traditional interior storage, relocating components and simplifying the cabin to create a more usable space where you'll actually need it. The door pockets are surprisingly generous, made possible by relocating the speakers into the dashboard as part of the Harman Kardon sound system. Even rear seat passengers benefit from thoughtful storage solutions, making the EX30 feel far more practical than its size might suggest. Okay, so when you push this in, your drink holder comes out. And for the longest time, I thought this was a solo drink holder, and this was just where you put your key. Well, it turns out it comes out and it has two drink holders. But this morning, when I had my coffee in here, we were driving slow in traffic. I took my coffee out to have a sip of coffee. And then up here on the screen, I gotta pay attention to the road with a little coffee mug beside it. The message wasn't exactly like that, but it was pretty darn close. One of my favorite interior features is the Harman Kardon premium sound system. Rather than placing speakers throughout the doors as you might expect, Volvo has integrated a full-width soundbar across the dashboard. So when you look at this screen as you're driving, which is a challenge because it's a touch screen, but if you go to fan, it shows you the entire interior cabin. You've got air conditioning, or you can put it on eco so that it minimizes the electric power that it takes, because everything you use, of course, in the vehicle runs on electric power. So if you've got everything on the go, like your music and your air conditioning, and you're charging your phone and you're driving, your battery, of course, is going to deplete quicker than if you were simply driving. Even the volume shows up down here for your stereo. Now it shows you the car. There's the mirrors! Okay, this is exciting, because since I got in the vehicle, I've been trying to figure out how to adjust my driver's side mirror. And I haven't been able to find the button, of course, because there are no buttons. There's no buttons on the door. There's no buttons anywhere. Here it is. Oh, look at that. Even gives me instructions on what I'm doing. One of the safety features I like is this little map over here that shows you the traffic around you. I mean, it's not like you can't see it when you're sitting behind the wheel, but for some reason I find it very interesting. And then you get this little yellow bar here that shows you somebody's in your blind spot. One thing I'm finding is having to get used to the fact that my speed is not here, it's over here. So every now and then I'm driving, I look down and there's no dash. So I have to take my eyes off the road to look at the tablet. The automatic rear hatch makes daily loading and unloading effortless, especially when your hands are full. Plenty of cargo space for a compact SUV, easily accommodating luggage, and with the back seat 2-to-1 split, you can fold down for that weekend trip. It's a small detail, but one that adds overall convenience of daily use and longer journeys alike. Of course, one of the biggest questions surrounding any electric vehicle is range. The EX30's estimated range will vary depending on accessory items and weather conditions, but what I found during my drive through British Columbia's mountains reinforced just how much elevation, weather, and highway speed can influence what you actually experience behind the wheel. I began my journey in Burnaby with the battery charged to 98%. The vehicle estimated I had 285 kilometers of range. And by the time I reached Hope, my battery had dropped to 50%. 35 kilometers later, climbing the Coquihalla Highway through grades ranging from 6 to 8.5%, my charge was at 33%. And by the time I reached the summit, 19%. That meant the next stop wasn't optional. As someone experiencing an electric vehicle for the first time, watching the battery percentage fall that quickly was a little unnerving. I arrived at Britton Creek Rest Area just after 11 a.m. on a Monday morning, expecting a quick stop before continuing on to Kelowna. But instead, I found myself third in line waiting for a charger. Even though the charging display indicated that there were 3 fast chargers available, one was under construction. So this was my first lesson that driving electric through the mountains requires planning. When it was finally my turn, lesson 2 appeared. It's not as quick as filling up with gas. Charging wasn't as simple as just tapping a credit card. I first had to download a charging app. Then I had to create an account and add funds before I could even plug the vehicle in. only to discover I was going to be there a while. So, with some time on my hands, I decided to just explore the Volvo, and I discovered Volvo's ambient themes are much more than colored interior lighting. They're inspired by Scandinavian landscapes. Each theme combines subtle lighting with natural sounds to create a calm and relaxing atmosphere. With the EX30 back to full charge, it was time to continue the journey toward Kelowna. My experience driving the Volvo began to feel a bit more like an education in electric travel. The next part of the journey was mostly a descent, and this is where I learned what regenerative braking can do. Instead of simply using brakes to control speed, the electric motor recovered energy and returned it to the battery. By the time I reached Merritt, the battery still showed 76%. At Aspen Grove, the battery remained at 61%, giving me far more confidence that I'd be comfortably reaching the Okanagan without another charging stop. That's when I really began to understand how dramatically elevation changes can influence the driving range of an electric vehicle. The climb to the summit consumed energy quickly, but the long descent helped recover it. The return to Burnaby became another learning experience. After charging in Merritt, I relied on the vehicle's navigation to guide me to my next charging stop. When I arrived at Walkaround Road in Abbotsford, I discovered the station was still under construction and unavailable. So at this particular point, I pulled off the highway looking for a fast charging station that the Google Maps told me there was. And when I pulled into the Petrocan, the charging station was under construction. So I managed to find one closer or nearby at the Co-op grocery store. So here I am now waiting for a charge for the next hour. Beyond Google integration, the EX30 will show you your electricity consumption while driving. This becomes second nature the more time you spend with the car. Upon arrival in Tsawwassen for an overnight, I plugged the EX30 in, and seeing that the charge would take some time, I decided to out for dinner. It seemed like the perfect opportunity to make use of some downtime, and halfway through my meal, my phone buzzed with a notification. The vehicle had finished charging, and I now had 5 minutes to return before idle fees would begin. That was another part of EV ownership I hadn't considered. Charging stations aren't simply parking spaces. Once your vehicle has reached its target charge, you're expected to move it so the charger is available for the next driver. In my case, there wasn't another vehicle waiting, but the timer had already started. It was another reminder that driving electric comes with a different rhythm than driving a gasoline-powered vehicle. The following morning, I set out for Burnaby expecting the final leg of the journey to be relatively straightforward. Instead, finding a charger before returning the vehicle proved to be another challenge. Every charger I tried was occupied, so I eventually found one inside a paid underground parkade. That meant paying to enter the parkade, downloading yet another charging app, and waiting for the vehicle to charge, and then paying for parking as I left. By the end of the journey, I had 3 different charging apps on my phone, and each with money still sitting in the account. So looking back, my biggest lesson wasn't about the Volvo EX30. It was about the charging infrastructure. The Volvo EX30 is great. I mean, it's comfortable, it handles, it's got plenty of torque, it's fun to drive. You just have to change your lifestyle to electric vehicle ownership. MSRP as tested is $51,960 before fees and taxes.